Watching today's winners and losers on Wall Street with our financial expert Rob Black, and a Worldwide Developer Conference still going on here in San Francisco. What are your thoughts so far on the Apple products? Winners or losers?
It's interesting.
I didn't find it boring.
No, it's very interesting. So I own shares of Apple, so it's more interesting to me, maybe. Apple shares, okay. So yesterday at the Worldwide Developers Conference, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, took some shots at Microsoft, but took a lot of shots at Google. This is the key takeaway, that they're getting phone users from Android. 98% satisfaction for their iPhone. Nearly half of our customers in China in the past 6 months switched from Android to iPhone. He talked about, the clear implication that this is growing their business. A lot of people buy Androids, aren't happy with them. I don't know anyone who's happy with their Samsung phones. So I get this. The experience is very unified on an iPhone. It's very fragmented on Google. But he started open beta for apps. He also talked about integrating iOS with other applications, starting iCloud storage, Spotlight search. So everything that Android does better than Apple iPhones, they're copying it, everything. So they're taking the best features, and they've got the better hardware, and they've got the customer satisfaction. So it's interesting to see. Their takeaway is, we can destroy Android. This war's not over yet.
Yeah, and it seemed like as they were moving away from Google, they were getting a little cozier with Microsoft as they're going towards Bing. And so you think there's going to be a greater partnership maybe down the road between Apple and Microsoft?
Apple will eventually even leave Bing and Microsoft and just do it themselves. Their Spotlight search is a step in that direction. But again, for now, they're gladly using Microsoft's Bing to compete with Google's Android.
Hopefully they'll do their search better than they did their maps. All right, on to Bitcoin now. And I know this has been a frightening place to be for people who own Bitcoin. But now Apple may be giving a little validation?
Yeah, another thing that came out of the conference yesterday is Apple announced that we will soon be accepting different transmissions of currencies. Read between the lines, it's Bitcoin. So Dish Networks is allowing Bitcoin to be paid for their services. Apple's going to start letting apps be built with Bitcoin transaction services. Transaction fees are lower. There's some other perks that traditional banks can't do. If Apple makes Bitcoin wallets, I think it's a win for the currency. I've not liked the currency. Last year it fell from 1,100 down 40% to 400s. It's now recovered back to 665. But it's validation. Is it still a wild, wild west? Yes. But it's not going away. Bitcoin will be here for many, many years to come. I
saw Google and Google Search and a really interesting ruling in Europe that people, if they don't information that's on there about them in a Google Search, embarrassing information, they can request to get it removed. Google's getting a lot of requests from Europeans.
Yeah, and that, I think, has to come to the United States. Because it's a tragedy when a teenager posts something stupid and it stays there forever. So Google basically lost a court case in Europe. Bottom line, they've been told you have to come up with a way of people challenging information that's irrelevant, no longer useful. Maybe it's just embarrassing. For instance, one German man tried to kill his family a couple years ago, and he's petitioning to get it taken off because he's no longer wanting to kill his family. I can see both sides. What about his new family? They probably want to Google search him and find out that he's potentially tried to kill. But I get it. But yeah, this is bad news long-term for Google's business model, because they make so much money from knowing people and leaking all the data. They don't even know it's possible. The internet's so big at this point in time. But they got 41,000 requests in the first 4 days. That's 7 per second is what it comes out down to. So a lot of people have some stuff they want taken down. I know people who do.
Yeah, so it looks like probably someone in the U.S. will file suit, and I'd assume this will go through the U.S. court system as well in the near future.
Yeah, the privacy that we give up to have the luxury of iPhones and Google, and it is pretty impressive. Facebook doesn't want this story to go any further as well.
Let's talk about the recession, and as we're coming out of it, interesting article you found and information about a baby recession that we've been going through here in the U.S.
Yeah, so the recession hit the 20-somethings the hardest. And the biological clock of a woman, she wants 2.3 kids in her lifetime. That's been pretty consistent for 100 years. Recessions are linked to baby recessions. Baby recessions are linked to recessions. So if we're not having babies, we're not getting car seats. If we're not getting car seats, we're not getting bigger cars, minivans and SUVs, and we're stopping with a cute, sexy car. Feeding 4 mouths is a lot more expensive than feeding 2 mouths. So 40-somethings and 30-something-year-old women, they've started adding more babies again for the first time in 5 years. The 20-somethings still haven't, because maybe the 20-year-old guy hasn't been able to find the job that the 20-year-old woman feels comfortable with. So there's still a little bit of a problem, but this is a good sign for our economy. Most babies ever born in the United States was 4.3 million in the year 2007, and the economy was rocking and rolling back then.
Yeah.
And you could see that babies are important to our economy. So I'm not giving any advice. Babies are expensive. They cost $250,000 from age 0 to 17, and another $250,000 for college if you pay for that. So take that into consideration. But babies are good sign. Good sign for the economy.
Yeah, and they make for some cute video as well, Rob.
They do.
All right, thank you, Rob. If you have a question for Rob, you can post it on his Facebook fan page, and we'll answer it here on KRON 4. We'll be right back.